Coach Mike in Chicago. Nice to meet you.
Leadership Sikhale is one of our young leaders at the club, very intelligent man, almost sitting on his second master's now. He's doing great. He's committed to the club. His hard work is beyond doubt. Very great young man. He's a social worker by profession, but I'm sure very soon we'll be talking clinical psychologist or something. He's incredible. We're very yeah. Great stuff. I think it's time we get started. Mr. Mtamai. Yes, yeah, can we go live? I'm getting started now.
Yes.
Lovely stuff, lovely stuff, lovely stuff. I would like to just get started. Okay. Club, the entire leadership of the club and members have been invited, and hope and believe that they will all be here by the time you get started, together with the friends of the club, partners, and everyone nationwide through Facebook Live. Everybody, welcome to the incredible National Leadership Lecture with Coach Mike Bart from the US of A. Those who are new here, please leave your contact details below on the taskbar. A distinguished gentleman by the name of Israel Sikhale will collect the data. Coach Mike, the philosophy of SALGC. Before I go forward, let me also comment and
alert welcome. From Google Chrome, Monroe Global.
I don't know what is this thing. Let me also welcome Coach Leadership Byron from the US, who's also here on this historic leadership lecture. This is the last leadership lecture we have for 2020. We have had a few during the lockdown, and we're closing big time with this one with Leadership Coach Mike. Our philosophy in SALGC is derived from the biblical information or knowledge that says God made a man, and that was after he has made an environment, a land, a garden, call it anything, but it's an institution that he has made, an entity that he has made. And he said to a man, he gave him a responsibility, and he says to man, work. And he didn't say, go find the job. He said, work. And then after that, when a man is busy working, he sent him a woman. He thought he sent him a woman by closing the man's eyes, taking out the rib out of a man and making a woman, and said to a man, here is your partner. Someone needs to mute that side, please. Okay, thank you. And God said to a man, he said to a man, here is your partner, your helper, go and perform the function that God gave you to do. And it is for that reason that men of this club, they have found their call from the Maker to stand up and be leaders in their communities and in their homes. And as a result, we found it fit that we must unveil what we call the desk of friends of SALGC within the club. These are women who have came together from different aspects, areas of life, who have said, we are willing to be part of the club as women, not as members of the club, but as women to support the work that you men are doing in our communities, our homes, to develop boys. As some of us as mothers, we are single mothers, raising boy children and all that. So these women who are available to assist the club in the mandate of, they are available to assist the club in the mandate of community-based and design programs and execution. The simple example is when we had a national SA youth competition, essay writing competition, where in those committees we had a few women who participated in helping the program go through and be a total success from beginning to the end. And I'm saying to the FOS, Friends of SALGC, you're basically welcome also, ladies, to this meeting. Then recently we have had a SALGC National Youth Essay Writing Competition. We discovered 8, which was possibly supposed to be 9, National Youth Ambassadors. These are young men who have shown interest in leadership by participating in the competition and willing to stand for the brand, its vision and values. I also say to them, young men, you are very much welcome in this very historic and last meeting of the final of 2021. We urge you, everyone who's also here who have not commended, to learn to the website, the SALGC website, learn more about what we do and take your membership. This club is meant for you. We have looked at the challenges that faces our country. And because SALGC is a national NPO, we are nowhere near politics and we affiliate to no political party. We looked at the challenges that have engulfed our communities and our homes. And we picked up that these challenges are nothing else but lack of leadership. These are challenges that says if leaders are produced in their homes, they're able to be people of value in their communities. So what we basically are saying now as SALGC, we founded the 5 cardinal pillars, which are the cornerstones of this organization, based on the challenges that we have seen in our communities that I said are not political, but they are psychosocial and economic. So all our 5 cardinal pillars, we see all the psychosocial and economic challenges. So sometimes we talk of the first pillar that talks about mental liberation of man, or we talk about another pillar that talking about economic emancipation and all that, or we talk about pillars that talks about relationship with the resources, which are such as things such as our communities as resource, our land as a resource, and money as a resource. Because in most third world countries, like our country, people always think that resource is only money. They look at the vast acres of land and they don't see as a resource. So it is consciousness that we bring in from this club to make these people aware that look at the land, look at it differently. And like we said, we had last week in our last penultimate lecture last week with Mr. Moyo, Max, the theme was nothing changes until the mind has changed. And Coach Mike, we are very excited today, very, very excited for you to come and talk to us about the 7 lives wealthy principles of success. And to all men who are here and brothers who are here, I want to refer you to the biblical book of Proverbs 24, verse 3 to 4, where Solomon was asked, how do you build a home? And this is what he had to say. He said, by wisdom, a home is built. And I want you to listen carefully. By wisdom, a home is built. And through understanding, it is established. And through knowledge, its rooms are filled with rare treasures, rare and beautiful treasures. So I need you to understand that knowledge as a keyword, wisdom as a keyword, these are things that just don't come to you. These are things that you must go out and get. So go out and get knowledge so that your home as a man can be solid. We can build societies and homes that are able to produce the kind of leaders that we need so badly in our societies. So to men, go out and look for knowledge. It is why we are bringing such great speakers as SALGC, people with incredible leadership credentials must come here and give you that knowledge that we so badly require. So it is for that reason that I once again thank you, Brother Mike, Coach Mike, thank you so much that you have agreed to come to South Africa via technology to share that knowledge and to develop and be great people, great fathers to our communities. And I've said here, it is for this reason that the National Club goes out of its way to seek wisdom, knowledge, and bring it to these men and ourselves so that we are able to fill up our homes and our communities with rare treasures, because we are men and we are housebounds. How do you build your home and bring it together? You have to be a husband, which is a housebound, but you can't do that if you don't have knowledge. You can't do that if you don't have wisdom. It is such things that make us to be here at SALGC today. I could go on and talk about this beautiful club because my love and conviction in this club, it's so much amazing. However, today it's not about me. Today it's about our great speaker who came here to share the. I'll just tell you briefly about who Coach Mike is, and then I'll hand over to him to take over. And I would like to urge everyone to prepare yourself. Get your pen and paper, scribble the notes, because this doesn't come often. Although I hope that Coach Mike will be with us through and through and guide us through this incredible knowledge. He's a godsend. And I want, before I hand over, I want to thank Coach Charlie publicly for the incredible work that he's doing with the club. It's behind closed doors where nobody sees, but the man is doing an amazing job. And he's the one who's been able to go and bring us Coach Mike to share all this amazing knowledge with us. Coach Charlie, I give you the honor and I commend you. Briefly about Coach Mike Matthews. Michael Bart Mathews is the CEO of the Matthews Entrepreneur Group Incorporate, TMAG Inc. International speaker, investor, certified life coach, manuscript development coach, author of Financial Speaking. The best improved starts with self-improvement. Create your own economic stimulus plan. And two, and finding your moment of clarity. Discover your power within. Available now at secure website. He's got his website there on the link. Please visit his website and know more about Coach Mike going forward. Coach Mike, this is the moment when I hand over to you and say, share with us the wisdom that we so desperately need. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that great introduction. I'm gonna start sharing before I share my screen, I wanna say thank you to Charlie Munson as well. I've been knowing Charlie for about 3 years. I visited the beautiful country of South Africa several years ago, and my wife and I met Charlie, and we've been brothers ever since. And because of that relationship and respect that I have for Brother Charlie, he always has a way of connecting good people with good people. So when he picks up the phone and makes the call, we just show up to get involved because we know it's going to be something that's high level. Even if I don't know what it is, I can trust Charlie's judgment. I also want to thank Byron, who is my right-hand man here in Chicago as well. I've been knowing him for over 30 years, and we've been business partners in a lot of different entities. So he can also bring value to this wonderful organization. And last but not least, I want to thank all of the viewers here who attended wherever you are in the world, especially in the beautiful country of South Africa, and wherever you are here in America as well. I'm going to share my screen so we can get started.
Thank you, Coach.
Oops. Okay. Okay. One second here. I have to collapse this and then I'm ready to go. Okay, I am the co-founder of the Matthews Entrepreneur Group. And before we get started, I just want to thank everybody for showing up. And remember, you are a masterpiece because you are a piece of the master. God didn't make any junk. We have to know our why, our reason, our purpose, our goal, or dreams. What you're about to see in the first half of my presentation is going to be a set of slides that I'll be talking about, just so you can visualize and share a little bit of who I am, my story, and where I came from. And then halfway through is where I will specifically get into the content and the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. It's okay if I share a little bit of my story with you. If that's okay, drop a 1 in the chat as we keep going.
Perfect, Coach. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I grew up on the south side of Chicago playing basketball in an alley. Before this picture's here, I used a bicycle rim as a hoop because we couldn't afford to go to the gym to play. And doing that, I decided to have one specific goal. I wanted to be a professional basketball player. So I went to high school. On the left is my high school picture when we played in a championship game and we won the state championship in Chicago, Illinois. And on the right is another picture when I played on the collegiate level and on to Europe. Then after that, we won the state championship and we have been inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I'm telling you, showing you this background history about me because I didn't grow up with financial literacy education as a cornerstone of how I am today. I bumped and bruised and fell and scraped and scrapped and learned and failed my way to success. So there's nothing wrong with failing as long as you don't keep making the same mistakes. But as a trained athlete, most of us who are athletes, the men and women here, we were all trained to win, but we understand taking the losses along the way. And that's the same with financial education. If you don't know in the beginning, you don't know, so you take your bumps and bruises. But what we hear today is to definitely make sure that everyone on this particular Zoom call from here in the United States, in the beautiful country of South Africa, and all 6 continents can listen, learn, and apply to the help, training, and assistance that we're going to be delivering. Now, I did not come from generational wealth. This was my inheritance. My father worked a job 40 years of his life, 40 hours a week, and retired on 40% of his income. He died in 1971. About 2 years ago, my mother called me over to the house and said, I found some money that your father had left. So she called my brother and my sister over. So of course, I was thinking it was going to be a real lump sum. So if you can look at this old can, this is a can from about in the 1930s from a business in Chicago that my father stored change in. He had 3 of these cans. One was for me, one was for my brother, and one was for my sister. And as you can see, they're pennies. So this was the start of my inheritance. So once again, I'm humbly sharing this because my story can help somebody else to know that I've been there and done that. And whatever I've earned from the people whose shoulders that I stood on, who helped train me, and that's where my knowledge comes from. Why would you listen to me? Well, I'm married to my lovely wife, Robbie, and she is the co-founder of our company, the Matthews Entrepreneur Group, for short is TMAG Inc. We are the founders of We Create Books. We help you to get your books out of your head so they can be read. I'm a published author of 4 books and a writer. I write a lot of copy. We're global serial entrepreneurs, and that's where I met Charlie on an international speaking gig in the beautiful country of South Africa. We're financial education and empowerment coaches. My wife and I, she does this as well. And that's the reason I'm here today, is to share the financial education empowerment part of one of our businesses. We're international speakers. And I also won the recipient of the John H. Johnson Businessman of the Year Award. Now, John H. Johnson was a Black man in Chicago who borrowed $500 from his mother, and he started Ebony and Jet magazine. And with $500, he turned that into a multi-million/billion-dollar company before that company was sold. So in honor of John H. Johnson, I received that award. Now, I'm not saying these things about me to impress you. What I am trying to impress upon you, think back to my inheritance, that bucket full of pennies. So as you're thinking, this is what you should be thinking. How can I, wherever I am with the income that I have, increase, grow, and scale my income? If I can do it, so can you. This is Michael at an interview during the John H. Johnson Businessman of the Year Award. My wife and I have been on a lot of magazines. One is the London Business Magazine with the choose of the Success Resource Magazine, Veronica and Richard Tan. We also met and know them and have been on the stage with them as well. This is my wife, Robbie Matthews, on the cover of the Global Women's Magazine. And this is myself on the Global Man's Magazine. And this is the LVH Dubai magazine out of Dubai, where we have a small picture photo right here somewhere on the front, as well as a pictorial on the inside. And none of this would have happened had I not became a published author. So as we get into the 7 principles, what is it that we can create? Remember, I said in the beginning, you are a masterpiece because you are a piece of the master. And the master was a master creator. He took 6 days to create and 1 day to rest. So as we go forward with your pens and paper, think about the things that you can create that you can turn into income or profit share or revenue or affiliate program organizations, or just to get your household in order so your home will run more smoothly and you can save a little bit more money. We've been on featured in several media features: South Africa, the Sunday Times, the Saturday Star, Kaya FM, 93.8, ANN 7, Impulse, LVH in Dubai, Tokyo, Lesbian, Australia, Business Booster out of Germany, just to name a Global Women's Club out of London, and Rejoice out of Chicago, and they're on and on and on. I just wanted to give you a little taste. And again, this is not to impress you, it's to let you know that I came from a place similar to you. And for me, that place was not generational wealth, but I came from love. Because I was an athlete, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, I was trained to win, but you can take the losses around the way. So if I can turn a can full of pennies into a sizable income, you can too. Here's a picture of us at the ANN 7 African News Network television station. This is us actually on the station being interviewed. That interview was one of the most heartfelt interviews that we have ever had because the host and the guest that we were speaking about, we were all speaking on the same financial education subject. And we have a video clip of all of that, but I won't show that video clip today due for the sake of time. But it doesn't matter if you have South African rands, United States dollars, Australian dollars, the German mark, or the yen. It doesn't matter what country you live in or what currency you spend. Financial literacy education is the same for each and every one of us. So each one teach one. This is us again, actually doing the interview live on the show. This is me live on stage in South Africa, delivering one of our 7 Live Wealthy principles in front of a crowd of about 2,000 people from 71 countries. And my wife actually spoke on that same stage, and she also had the opportunity to interview Ndaba Mandela, Nelson Mandela's grandson, on a financial literacy question that sparks the world. Again, this is what got us in the financial education game. And this book, Financially Speaking, became the cornerstone of our company because early in my life, I did not come from generational wealth. I played ball. I didn't lose all my money, but I spent it. And I said, God, if you just give me the opportunity to earn that kind of money again. One of my missions, one of my missions will be to go around the world teaching financial literacy education. And the bottom line is create your own economic stimulus plan. If we are a masterpiece and we are a piece of the master, and the master is a master creator, and then King Solomon and King David, with all the wealth that was bestowed upon them, and they created more opportunities for other people with their knowledge and wisdom, how come we can't create? Well, what is stopping us from creating? So who is the man in the mirror, that reflection that you see when you look in that mirror and you say, I think I can, I know I can, I think I can, I know I can. But financial literacy education in personal and business is paramount for my generation, my children's generation, and my children's children's generation each and every day. This is my mindset book titled Time to Get Serious, Finding Your Moment of Clarity. Now the next line says, discover your power within. We were all born wonderfully and uniquely made. We all have a special set of unique gifts and talents that the Creator put in us when we were born. We might not have asked to come here, but because we were strong and we had to fight off the other different sperms and to get to the egg, and then out of that one egg, it produced each and every one of us that are here listening to my voice. So because we have that gift of life from the gift of givers, what are we going to do with that? That's the question, and that's the premise of this book. This book has 9 authors, and 5 authors are from 5 different countries, and one of the authors is Yes, from your beautiful country of South Africa. Here's another book titled Harness the Power of Purpose, How to Monetize Your Personal and Business Journey. It's a collaborative work with 10 authors from 10 different states here in the United States. But let's go back to the first, harness. That means to grab a hold to or control. Power, we all have power. We have energy, frequency levels. So if we tune in, tapped in, and get turned on to that universal power of purpose, but purpose, do we know our purpose? Do I know our why? Do I know our reason or purpose? Or what is, as Napoleon Hill says, that special something that you desire? And once you know that, you can now monetize your personal and business journey. And that information can be found in the pages of this book. But since this book is not here, that information is going to be found in the rest of this presentation, as I freely want to serve each and every one of you. Again, thanks, Brother Charlie, for inviting me here to this forum. I cannot edify you enough, and thanks both for having me. And it's not about me, it's about edification of the people who give other people platforms, and my job is to continue serving. So it's a survey says here in the United States. So we're talking about the next generation. So anybody that you know that are around the age of 25, this goes for them. And think about yourself when you were 25, like I did myself as I go through the rest of this survey. There is a survey that says if you track 100 25-year-olds, by the time they reach age 65, that 26 will be dead, 64 will be broke or dependent on family or the government, 5 will be working, 4 will be financially independent, and 1 out of 100 will be rich. Which group will you fall in? And that determines on your goals and dreams and that special something and how much you grind it out, as Brother Charlie uses. That's his favorite word, grind it out. Only 5 out of 100 make the grade. So my question is, what happened to the other 95 who did not achieve financial success? I would say due to circumstances, some beyond their control, and some due to circumstances that they could control, but they just chose to pick up the remote, sit on the chair, and look at the boob tube, which we call the idiot box here in the United States, meaning that when you could have time in the laboratory creating something instead of watching a television program, you failed to plan. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now there's a couple of surveys here that I researched in South Africa, and it said, according to the Region Observatory, the Quality of Life, the following results are based on a survey of about 30,000 South African respondents who are participating. And the survey goes, it says that some South Africans are becoming more heavily indebted due to the interest rate hikes and the weak economy due to COVID-19. But that's not only true in South Africa, that's true all over the world due to COVID-19, especially here in the United States. Some people owe 75% of their monthly pay to creditors because they can't pay their bills, they can't go to work, or they lost their jobs, and they no longer can get any more extensions. 60% are struggling to make their monthly home loans and credit card payments, also due to lack of income to meet those monthly payment demands. And 77% are left flat broke at the end of the month with no hope of saving money. Remember that can of pennies I had? That was me at one point, flat broke. And some are findings from the debt rescue show that the average South Africans are about 70,000 rands in debt. The average US citizen here is 10 to 20 to 30 or more $1,000 in debt, and some of those are higher. So this is just not a South African issue, it's a global issue. So most of the respondents also said how difficult it was to save money. And only 22% said it was easy or very easy, while 78% said it was difficult to impossible. So that 22% probably represents the 1% of the world's wealthiest people, and the 78% represent the 98% of the rest of us. So the question is, as we go further, I'm hoping you're taking notes as we get to the 7 Live Wealthy principles, and take notes so we can listen, learn, and apply to the help, training, and assistance that will most definitely change your life. So in summary, more than 11 million of South Africans' credit active consumers are described as over indebted. Now here in the United States, that's closer to 60 or 70 million due to COVID-19, due to loss of jobs, due to small businesses closing down, and due to people finally giving in, giving up, and just having a lack of persistence to wave the battle. So the 5 P's of financial success. Proper planning prevents poor performance. And that's a financial success trait. One more time, proper planning prevents poor performance. In order to have proper planning, you must have goals. But let's take the word goals a little bit more and add the word smart. And there are SMART goals. A SMART goal means S is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. The acronym for that is SMART. Specific, what specifically do you want to accomplish in terms of your financial future? Or how much money do you need just to survive? Or how much money do you want to make within the next 12 months? So we should begin with the end in mind, because if we don't know where we're going, it's going to be hard to get there without a measurable route. The second is M for measurable. How will you reach your goals? What will you do in order to reach those measurable goals? How much will you make each month? How much do you need to make to pay your basic necessities? How much do you need to make to have a savings plan? How much do you need to make to pay your necessities, have a savings plan, have an investment plan, and then add a retirement plan? Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The A is achievable. What clear action steps are you going to take to achieve your specific and measurable goals? Now, for me, the A is where most people fail, and the word is action. Because if we don't learn how to get off the porch and run with the big dogs, then we'll never get to the finish line and win the race. The R in SMART goals is realistic. You can't make $1 million or 1 million rands until you make the first 100,000. So what business do you have? What product do you have? What service do you have? Or what can you create and make it available in the marketplace? What price tag will you put on it? And this is knowing your numbers. What price tag can you put on it? And at that price point, how many of those items or products or services do you have to sell in order to make that first 100,000 Rand or $100,000? And the last one is T for time-based. What is your clearly defined timeline of financial achievement? As Zig Ziglar says, you can be a meaningful specific or a wandering generality. So what is your start date? When you have a start date, that means you're wondering, you're a meaningful specific. If you do not have a start date, you are a wandering generality. Because when you ask people to say, when you're gonna do this, they either say someday or tomorrow. But the last time I checked, someday and tomorrow were not 2 days of the 7 days of the week. So you have to have a start date so it can be time-based and measured. And what is your target date for financial success? When do you want to hit that goal, financial goal? And people look at us as if we don't succeed, who in our family or our community are we letting down because we didn't succeed? I don't know what happened to the videos, ladies and gentlemen, but we're just going to keep going because we are always prepared, okay? So we're
Yes,
going to get,
Coach, we can still, yeah.
you can hear me?
We can see you, can hear you, Coach.
Okay. We're
Yes,
going to just
yes.
jump ship and get straight into the 7 Live Wealthy principles. Each principle stands for a letter. The first one is W for wealth mindset. The second one is E for entrepreneurship. The third one is A for asset management. The fourth one is L for leave a legacy. The fifth one is T for tithing and philanthropy. The next one is H for healthy living. And the last one is Y for you are in control. Now, I know I'm talking to 3 types of people here. And these 3 types of people are, number 1, people who wonder what just happened at the end of this presentation. Then there are people who stand by and watch things happen. And then there are people who take action and make things happen. So the people on this lecture are the people who we want to definitely know that we know that you are people who make things happen. So before I get into the 7 Live Wealthy Principles, I'm gonna read a quick poem from one of my books titled The Best Improvement Starts with Self-Improvement. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Are you that person that you want to be? While going through life, do you look in your mind? I know I was made just one of a kind. Inch by inch, life is a cinch, but yard by yard, life can be hard. Self-improvement may be hard to accept. It's the best improvement one should not reject. In your elder days, will you look back and say, I gave life my all until my very last day. Learn all you can while your mind is still sharp, because unused knowledge will one day depart. So as I keep going, take notes and listen, learn, and apply. So let's go to the first principle with this wealth mindset.
Coach, can you share the screen, please? Are you able to share the screen?
Okay, for some reason, the screen sharing has stopped.
Oh, okay.
Am I still the host?
Yes, yes, you're still the host, I suppose.
I think you just get on and end your screen share, Brother Mike, and restart it again.
Yes, yes. Okay, here we go. Thank you. That's what teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork, yes. Okay, the first principle is wealth mindset. You must change the way you think, act, and feel about your money. We can't keep doing the same thing with our money and expect a different financial income. Due to COVID-19 all over the world, millions of people have lost jobs, millions of jobs has closed down, small businesses has closed down. Here in the United States, the government gave a $1,200 stimulus check one time, but after that stimulus check was gone, the people in the country were still in need of funding. So we need to change how we think, act, and feel about our money. We must think like the rich and wealthy in order to become rich or wealthy. So instead of being like Michael Jordan and buying $200 Nikes, we should teach our children how to design a Nike gym shoe and just sell it to Nike. And that would be a way that we can create income. We must learn to commit. As Max Moyer was talking about earlier, we must learn to commit. We must start with our financial literacy education. E is for entrepreneurship. You cannot get wealthy working a 9-to-5 job. Oh, it's nothing wrong with the 9-to-5 job, because that's the basis for all of us, unless we come from a family of entrepreneurs where they pass down a business from one generation to the next. I did not come from a family of entrepreneurs. I came from a working class family where we worked the 40-40-40 plan. 40 years of your life, 40 hours a week to retire on less than 40% of your income. But by the time you reach age 65, if you're in that category with no other extra funds, that's not going to look too good, because whatever your Social Security check may be or government check, that may not be enough to sustain your everyday living due to the cost of living in any country that you live in. So the entrepreneurship way of building, scaling, and selling a company is the way to go. So becoming an entrepreneur or business owner and build good personal credit and business credit, because you're going to need personal credit in order to maintain and get good benefits for your business credit. We need to create passive income streams. We can use real estate. You can have affiliate programs. You can have collaborative programs. You can do profit sharing. And passive income is something that you can create one time and it pays you over and over and over. It's like making money while you sleep. Now, the third principle is A for asset management. Here it's still, you have to build good personal credit, because when you build good personal credit, that means you have access to capital. And when you have access to capital, you can purchase assets. And an asset is something that pays you, and a liability is something that takes your money away. Number two, to get out of debt and stay out of debt. Because once you get out of debt and stay out of debt, guess what? You have more disposable spending income that you can invest in assets that will pay you money. Then we need to learn to manage our spending. You know, like going to the store, buying those red bottom shoes or those expensive gym shoes that we can't stand. This is for the younger generation, or for my generation, just buying things that we don't need to impress people that we don't like, and spending money that we don't have is one surefire way to keep us in debt. So we need to manage our spending. And we need to know our personal financial numbers, like our credit score. If we have a bad credit score, it inhibits our ability to access capital at a lower rate. The better your credit score is, gives you a better opportunity to access capital. We also need to understand the interest rates when we accessing capital. The lower the interest rate when we access capital, the lower the interest payment will be. And also the debt to income ratio. Your debt to income ratio will also help or hinder you when it comes time to get your funding. So earn interest and not pay it. Albert Einstein said, interest is the eighth wonder of the world, because people who understand interest earn it, and people who don't pay it. And you can end up paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of interest over the course of your lifetime if you don't have 0% offers on your credit, because your credit is no longer viable for the business agencies. Now, the fourth one is leave a legacy. The fourth 7 Live Wealthy principle is leave a legacy. We need to teach what we learn and pass on our financial principles to our children and our children's children. I've never seen a Hertz with a Brinks truck full of money behind it going to the graveyard. And Les Brown always speaks about some of the most best kept treasures are buried in the cemetery. So before we leave this earth, one of our missions should be to learn, then teach what we've learned, and pass that financial education principles on to our children and our children's children. And on the way, we need to create legal entities to protect and pass on our assets to our current and future heirs, which are our children and our children's children, or whoever you designated to. It could be a niece, a nephew. It could be that person who gave you a hand up and not a handout, and you want to thank them for being of service to you in your time of need, like a living will or an estate or a living trust to make sure that your wishes will go as follow once you leave this earth as we know it. And the fifth principle is T for tithing and philanthropy. Being of service is critical to growing and sustaining your business. We like to say we have a for-profit business and we attach that to a nonprofit service and we help to serve. Just to tell you a little bit about how my wife and I serve, we're both on the board of the Always Amazing Foundation, founded by Dr. James and Cara Dentley here in the United States. We help children write books, we help seniors with meals, we help veterans find needed services, and we're just there to serve in any way that we can. I'm also a volunteer with the Golden Wings Helping Hands Foundation here in Chicago. We feed the homeless during the Christmas holiday seasons and recommend service providers where they can get assistance. Again, this is our giving a hand up and not a handout opportunity. And there's a wonderful organization in South Africa named Omoya by a good friend of mine named Ken Morwell. We're trying to figure out ways that we can help her and her organization along with helping the children that she sponsors into the arts so we can help bring more service to other places besides the place that we live in. If we are global citizens, one of our missions is to help globally. The sixth principle, H, is for healthy living. Now let's be realistic on this one. What's more important, your wealth or your health? I've seen it over and over and over where multimillionaires and multi-billionaires wait till they're 80 and 90 years old, and upon their passing, if they have a will, they leave half of their money to an organization. But the joy is all gone. That's still a good thing, don't get me wrong, but the joy of that in their later years is, to me, is all gone. What about helping people along the way like we're doing right here with Bo's great organization, while we are living, while we can touch the souls of the youth and the brothers and sisters that we all team up in this global community to make this actually healthy living service thing happen. And we need to adopt healthy living habits. What do I mean by healthy living habits? I know during COVID-19, our money is not like it wants to be, so we may not be able to have access to all of the fruits and vegetables on a regular basis. And also another trickle-down effect is because of the farmers catching COVID, they're not working, and it's harder to get people to mine the crops to bring the crops to market so you and I can purchase the fresh fruit. So we need to control what we put in our mouths as best as possible. More fruits and more vegetables, drink more water, and less meat and sugar and caffeine and alcohol or tobacco products would just help us to live a healthier life. Exercise at least 30 minutes a day whenever possible. Of course, if you have any chronic illnesses or diseases, I advise you to check with your medical professional before you embark on exercising these 30 minutes a day. But we need to exercise our financial habits. We need to exercise our spiritual habits. We need to exercise our healthy habits as well. And get regular physicals as often as possible to detect and prevent diseases that are coming down the pipe, especially now during COVID-19. So I hope everyone is taking COVID-19 seriously. We're washing our hands, we're social distancing, we're staying away from everyone as much as possible. And when we do, we're following the rules and regulations that will help keep us safe as possible. And the why, the last principle, is you are in control. Discover your why, your reason or purpose, your goal or dream, or that special something that you desire in life. What is your mission? Do you understand why you are here on this earth? What is it that you were born to do? How can you help your family? Who else can you serve? How can you serve your community? How can you serve the organization that we're here today? How can you just pick up and go and donate your time or your money or your service to someone that you don't even know and look for nothing in return for your service? because you are blessed. It's time for us to help to bless other people. And to do that, we must regain control of our financial life, because you are in control. You are in control. If all our 7 Live Wealthy principles would do is to grow your money, would it be worth it? If all our 7 Live Wealthy principles would do was to increase your financial literacy education, would it be worth it? If all our 7 Live Wealthy principles could do for you was to change the way you think, feel, and act with your money, would it be worth it? If all our 7 Live Wealthy principles could do for you was to help end the cycle of poverty, would it be worth it? Remember, at the beginning of my presentation, I showed you a can full of pennies, which was my inheritance. So the question was, how did I turn that can full of pennies into where I am today? If I can do it, you can too. So you have a choice. You have a choice of your financial future. Your financial future depends on your choice to be or not to be financially free. So again, I want to thank Bo and the South African Leadership Gentlemen's Club for inviting me here today. Again, I want to thank Charlie Munson, my global friend, for giving me this opportunity to speak today. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and participating today. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Back over to you, Bo.
Sorry, I was on mute. Apologies.
No
Thank you very
problem.
much, Coach. Yeah, thank you very much, Coach. Very, very powerful presentation. I had a few comments here that this is just the right time for this presentation, and people are very excited. Take it very serious, and it means a lot that you came to give us so much wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll start taking questions or comments on the presentation. By a show of hand, please just click there and then we'll take your question. There's a gentleman, Israel Khale. Please, leader, can you help? I see Leadership Majokana is also here. Can you guys also assist, take questions if you see any on Facebook Live and on Zoom? Anybody who wants to go at it? It seems like you have said a mouthful that has got people paralyzed, Coach Mike. Can I be the first one while people are still pondering on what to ask? Coach,
Yes.
a lot of people and a lot of us have been going through same trainings for a very long time and through organizations to save money and how to plan and whatever. And here in particular, my question is based on the African communities. We don't share, we don't become, we develop that knowledge, we get it, but when it comes to implementations, there are challenges. What would you attribute that to? That people, when you talk, they already know what you're going to say. They know smart, they know this, they know that, but when it comes to implementation, that should make them wealthy. It just doesn't materialize. What would you attribute that to?
Well, I've been to your beautiful country, and I've met a lot of your countrymen and women, and I've met Charlie, and I've gotten to know the ideology and concepts to a degree. And it's one thing I'll say before I answer the question, that there are a lot of very smart, intelligent South Africans and people on the entire continent of Africa that I've met, first and foremost. And you all have the tools. You already have the tools. I didn't come to a country that did not know. I came to a country which is the motherland for me. So I came home to the motherland and I found a wealth of knowledge and information that was just sitting right there for people to use. The second thing is, for me, I personally think that the community should be not the crab in the barrel syndrome, where one person learns something and actually grinds it out and starts climbing to the top, and the ones who really don't have a conviction or commitment or a purpose or a goal or a dream try to pull that one person back down. I think it should be a collaborative effort, a grassroots collaborative effort to start off with. And then we have mastermind meetings and collaborating. We share opinions and ideas as a collective, even though we have individual business accrements and business visions for our businesses. But when you have two or more people, like Napoleon Hill said, that third invisible mind, and I'll take it as to be that spiritual force of frequency that we tune in, tap in, and turn on to, that we ask and knock, and the door shall be open, seek and ye shall find. Once that happens, we have to take action and walk through that door with an abundance mindset. Remember, I showed you a box full of pennies. Most people would look at that and say, my father, that's all he left me after working 40 years? Well, my father paid all the bills for 40 years too. So I took those pennies as, okay, this is the legacy he's trying to leave to me, to show me that I can turn these pennies into dollars. So back to your original question, Bo, for the beautiful people of South Africa, as well as the whole continent of Africa, as well as anywhere in the United States, you have to know your purpose. And everybody may have a different purpose, but that's okay. But once you know your purpose, the next thing is, what am I going to do? That means we need to do due diligence and research. Is this good? If it's good, you put it in the yes column. If it's not, you put it in the no column. And then we need to have a mastermind session. We need to understand that in order to be successful, we need to invest in ourselves to a degree. I've spent tons of money on personal development and business coaching in order to get me to where I am today. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, without having good basketball coaches, I wouldn't have been a basketball champion. And without having good personal development coaches, I wouldn't understand relationship capital. And without having good business coaches, I would have continued to fail in business. Yes, I failed early on. The goal is not to keep making the same mistakes, own up to them, admit them, get coaching, fix the problem, be a collective, and let's move on.
Terrific, great stuff. I've got a question from Sai Shabalala, but I'll before then, I've seen a hand from Leadership Baron in the States. Lira, over to you. Can I take the stage, please? Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
I just wanted to ask Coach Mike to go back to the different kinds of people. One, you said we had people who wonder what just happened. Number two was
people who wonder what happened, people who watch what happened, and the kind of people who are on this call, people who make things happen. These are the people who are in this lecture today. Number three, people who make things happen.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Welcome. There's a question here, my leader, from Sai Shabalala. He's also an author here in South Africa. Sai says, we all know that as African, we start from a point of disadvantage. His question now is, so how did you manage? How did you overcome your own obstacles as a Black man?
Well, I grew up in an all-Black neighborhood. I went to all Black schools, grammar school, high school. I went to all Black church. All my friends were Black like me up until a certain age. But once I started playing basketball, I started seeing a whole totally different world. But that world wanted to exclude people like me to a degree, but they could also include people like me if you knew your purpose. Now, here's the key, not know your place, know your purpose. And I knew my purpose as an athlete So I chose to take that route early on, which literally took me out of that environment to open up my mind like a parachute to see that even though I am a Black African-American man, that people of all different colors, races, and creeds were willing to reach out and help because I knew what I wanted. So once that started to happen, I decided to continue that process on to college to play college ball, then overseas in Europe, and then back here in the business world. I knew that we had to be a little bit better on our toes because of being disenfranchised. Being in Africa, it was the apartheid. In Chicago, in the States, it was the civil rights movement. So with those two things happening at the same time, different genres with different leaders, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King here, Nelson Mandela there, the struggle was on for us to become better people. So I started studying the leaders, the positive leaders for change and the struggles that they went through. And I said to myself, if the leaders who came before me could sacrifice their life, sacrifice their journey, and sacrifice their mission, then what mission do I have as one person? Because one person can make a difference. So I became the game changer to that person that I stared at in the mirror. And when I changed that reflection in the mirror, I was able to change other people who were in my surroundings because I knew my purpose. And my purpose was inclusion, not exclusion. All, not racial prejudice. Serving, not taking for myself. Learning, and number one, listening to understand rather than talking to be understood. Because the more you listen, the more you learn. I'm talking a lot here because that's why I'm here to talk. But normally, if you see me at an event, if I'm not part of the speaking panel or part of the keynote or just the presenter, I have notes and paper and I'm quiet as a church mouse taking notes. Like when Bo was talking, I took a few notes when Bo was talking. I always take notes because that's the way that you learn. So to get back to answer the question, I'm a man. I just happen to have Black skin. Wherever I go, I see people as people. You can clearly see the color, but I truly don't see the color unless it affects in a certain negative way where you have to react because your personal dignity or your integrity is being challenged. But on the even playing field, we are all a piece of the master because we are wonderfully made and we are a masterpiece. So that's how I see myself, and that's how I've always been, that I can do anything. I can accomplish anything if I try. Yes, it may be difficult. And number two, to further answer the question, I never judged myself about what somebody else's success was, because I know what my journey is. And sometimes I didn't know my journey, but I didn't prejudge myself on somebody else's success. But what I did do is I studied the most successful people and I said, why reinvent the wheel? If it's working for them, if I am a creator, I need to create something and follow their success patterns and make my own pattern and then go out there and make it happen.
Coach, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to ask you, Coach, to truly, in the new year, you have said something very profound here. Found your purpose. That's what I get out of that question. Find your purpose. I don't know if you can give us a session in the next year, early next year, that talks about how to find your purpose. Because I've had a lot of leaders in SALGC who has a problem with that. Say, oh, it's very difficult to answer who am I, how to find the purpose of my life. So I'm grateful for that response. I see a comment from Awesome here that says, did I hear Coach say, after leaving the Black communities and associations, you started seeing a different life? And many other principles about saving, not taking to self, etc., etc. Is that what he said, Coach? I think that's a comment or a question. I don't see a question mark.
Well, I'll take it as a question. So I'll answer it in question form.
Yes.
I just expanded my surroundings to the global community. Because when you travel, if you never traveled outside your community, you don't know what the rest of the world is like. You know, you don't know that. You just don't know. And you don't know that people of different colors actually like you sometimes. You don't know that until you go. I mean, I've traveled to Dubai, to London, to South Africa, to Cape Town, to Pretoria, to Germany, played basketball in many different countries. I couldn't even speak the language, but I was the only African-American besides another person sometimes on the team. But it didn't seem like that. We were all brothers. So when you get to a point of higher level, higher frequency, where you tune in, tap in, and turn on to a higher wavelength from infinity and beyond that's universal, spiritually guided, those people seem to gravitate toward you if you're operating from humbleness and from a place of soulful gratitude. And again, you know your purpose. Now, I'm gonna stay on purpose because knowing your purpose is one of the key points for survival. And let me share a short story with you. My wife and I do 98% of our at this point, we were doing 100% of our business affairs together. And I have a coach, and his name is Dr. James Dentley. He just started a JGT television show, which hopefully I can get some of you guys on the show once we get things rolling. But with that being said, as him being my coach, he got to know me. So he walked up to me one day and said, Mike, you need your own business. He said, I'm saying that with love. I said, you and your wife work well together as a team, but you just need your own business that you can run, and then you guys still work together as a team. Then he walked away, but he didn't tell me what business I needed. He didn't give me any other guidance, but because he was my coach and he knew me, because he gives you the kick you in the butt conversation and then puts his arms around you and hugs you, and then we keep going. As long as you're trying, that's how my coach is. So 2 weeks later, I started another division of our company called We Create Books. And we help you to get your books out of your head so they can be read. And since that company was started, I've operated with about 20 authors. I helped 20 people to become published authors. I'm working with another 5 right now. As a matter of fact, Byron Day, I'm working on a manuscript with him, and he's going to be one of our We Create Books published authors sometime in the near future. So the point being, to answer that question more emphatically, is you have to have commitment and discipline and purpose and a plan. And number 3, you can't do it by yourself. And if you don't know, you don't know, which is okay. And I'm not sitting here today saying I know it, because I don't know everything. But what I do have is several coaches on speed dial that when I don't know something, I will pick up the phone and say, look, or text them or WhatsApp them, look, I'm stuck. I'm at a pivot point. I'm at a fork in the road. Coach, what do you think about this? Get back to me when you have an opportunity. And then I can keep working on coming to a conclusion for myself. But then when the higher level coach comes back in and gives me some coaching and it all clicks, then the next thing is to show the result. The result of the action is, for We Create Books, is my last book titled, Harness the Power of Purpose, with helping 10 people to become published authors. So that's what we mean about finding your purpose and making it, and your passion, and making it happen.
Terrific, terrific. Coach Charlie, I saw your hand, but let me read this comment quickly and come back to you. This Mematiana Machoba, she says, profound presentation, Coach Matthew. So much I'm taking home. And then she goes on to say, a lot of commitment and discipline keeps popping as I reflect. And then she says, it moved so quickly. Once more, we are very thankful and grateful to you. Thank you very much. And Ubongani Klaba says, thank you, leadership, and a powerful talk. I have a question on the 4th principle of legacy. What is the difference between the legal entities you refer to and the will? Is it the same thing? But before then, I promise to go to Coach Charlie. Can I get Coach Charlie, and then you can answer it? Coach Charlie, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Brother Mike. for affording us your time and your wisdom and a brilliant presentation on the 7 Live Wealthy principles. We all tend to be caught up in this dilemma or place of thinking that we are Black, we are underprivileged, etc. I'll just give a little quick short story. Within the apartheid era, I became a national champion. So at the end of the day, to answer that, or just to expand on the question that was asked about we start off in a place of disadvantage. It's not about the disadvantage. It is what will you do to take the opportunities that are presented to you. Opportunities are all over. What do you make of those opportunities? Are you going to be saying, no, it is because I am of a person of color and this is for this? I had to face a lot of flack taking part in a sport that was kind of perceived as a Cinderella sport. But I took the opportunity when I discovered I was good at it and I became the best in the country. So as you've mentioned, it is just changing your circle and not really walking out of your circle, but it's changing your circle and exposing yourself to other opportunities that are out there. And that is how you learn a lot of things. Many people are under the perception that because you are operating in a different circle, you have discarded the circle or the community that you come from. You have not. You have to explore opportunities. You cannot be sat in the same place and expect yourself to move forward. I thank you, Brother Mike.
Thank you, Coach Charlie. Very profound. Doesn't need, you dumping the circles where you come from, but you just improve and adding more cycles and improving your gift and expanding your gift. I see. Let me go back. Yeah.
And as we, myself and Brother Mike have very deep conversations, and what we sometimes talk about is what do you commit yourself to? Are you grinding it away, no matter what you have to do? There are times myself and Brother Mike are speaking 2-3 o'clock our time in South Africa, and I'm still grinding away. You've got to put in the work. Many times we find people not putting the work, but they're expecting to get something out. It is what you do, what do you expect? And as within the SMART principles, right? What are you willing to change? Are you willing to go through the pain of having to grind? Mr. Moyo last week mentioned that what are you going to change within your time? Where are you going to put your time and effort into? Getting involved in something or making a decision that you're going to be part, or you've got a goal that you need to set. There's a lot that you have to change. You need to manage your time differently. You have to be working incredible hours. You've got to be focused, and you need to put in the grind.
You need to put in the grind. I can't emphasize that more. Let me go back to Bongani's comment. Coach Mike, he says, what is the difference between the legal entities you refer to and a will? Is it the same thing?
Okay. Here in the United States, the terms may be different. So I'll just speak here, but it's globally, really. If you don't have anything in writing, that's like property of the state. Your family, first of all, will be able to have personal access, if you don't put wishes down of what you want to happen with what you have. And here in the US, your will is actually, if you don't have a legal will, it's the state where you live at. They can take control, seize control over all of your assets if you don't have a written will. And that written will can be a simple piece of paper. If you don't have the personal finances, even though that can be contested, it's still your last will and testament. Now, moving from that to the legal entity, a legal will made up by a legal entity would list all of your desires and goals and dreams for your assets and properties and money and jewelry or whatever it is that you have, even if you want to leave it to a non-for-profit and don't leave it to your family members because they just didn't grind it out. Or you want to divide it up equally to your family members because they did grind it out, and you want to leave that legacy for the next generation, for your children and your children. And within that, they have what we call an executor, who's actually given the authority to help execute what you put in writing. And then there's another layer, which we call a living trust, or they have blind trust, where you can actually put all of your assets in a living trust or a blind trust. And if somebody's looking you up and looking for you, if it's in that blind trust, it can't be found, depending on how deep the layers of inclusion are. But what you want to pass on to the people that you want to pass on to is squarely documented in legal form within an executor, and it has to be done, distributed in a legal format before anybody can actually tap a hold to that. So those are the basics of the entities at that point.
Great stuff. Thanks, Coach. Thanks. Israel is talking to everyone here. He says, if you are new in the SALGC, please don't forget to leave your details down here, and we will take them and make follow-up so that you enjoy the privileges of being part of the SALGC space even in the future. Thanks. I will take another question if there's anyone who wants to go at it.
Okay. I'm gonna make a comment before the next question.
Okay.
I still go to the same neighborhood that I grew up in. My family still owns the same home. We still have some of the same friends from when I was in grade school, from 3 and 4 and 5 years old. We have those 50-year-long relationships in the community that I came up in. So it truly takes, I'm saying this for this, because it truly takes a village to raise a child, and then it takes the grown man or the chieftain of that village to come back like I come back. You know, my brother and I, we meet every Saturday at my mom's house, and we invite the family members and some of the friends that we know. We see them and we'll talk, but mostly it's my brother and I. But we let the community know that we were born and raised here, and if it wasn't for the help, training, and assistance of the community environment that anchored us, that gave us the roots, that gave us the anchor and the tree, and then the fruit came off of the branches of the leaves that made us who we are. Just like when the wind blows a leaf or fly away, we flew to different communities, we flew to different cities, we flew to different states, and then eventually flew to different countries. And that's where it all came from. I know I wouldn't be this person had I stayed 100% in my community. But you know what I still know? I still would be the same giving, caring, and growing person, but with global experience, meeting people from different nationalities, from different backgrounds, from people who have pennies with cans in it like those, and to the millionaires and billionaires that I've been blessed to meet. You gain a whole lot of knowledge and wisdom, and the number one thing is the gratitude and humbleness and the coaching that these people are willing to pour into you. So like Charlie, myself, Byron, Bo, and most of the leaders here, our job is to serve others and not serve ourselves. Because if we can serve others while serving ourselves, that means while we are living and growing, we are giving back to our communities from locally within and globally, like we can do digitally here on Zoom. As you can hear, I edify Bo, I edify Byron, I edify Charlie, I edify my coach, Dr. Dentley. I edify people all the time because it's not me. People have poured so much into me. It's my mission and my obligation to continue to learn, to teach, to share, and to grow. Because when I see my coach growing, it's like, no, I'm not trying to be like him, but you're not going to leave me behind because you're my coach. That means I'm supposed to show you I've learned something too, is what I'm saying. We're not running the same race, but we're in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. And that's the point. So we all have a place here on earth. Again, it's about purpose. It's about passion. It's about commitment. It's about desire. It's about community. It's about integrity. It's about humbleness. It's about gratitude. And again, it's about purpose.
Great stuff. Thanks, Coach. There's a very interesting comment I'm going to read from Miss Awesome here. But first, I need to give to Sipos. Sipos' hand has been up for a while. Sipo, over to you, my leader.
Good day, leadership. Thank you very much to Coach Matthew for the good lecture. I appreciate the moment shared with us to grow together. I've got a small sad story that I got from a friend of mine. He's married. The wife ordered some cakes from my wife because she bakes and she cooks. Now, instead of, and then after the wife paid, and then the guy said, no, told the wife to say, no, we cannot, I don't want to mix friendship with business. So now my wife had to pay back the money. But that's not too much of a problem. And I realized that our mind has really been damaged in terms of the segregation and the oppression. But I think as the club, it's important that we grow together and we're able to learn and we help each other as we grow to sort of make sure that we decolonize our mind. And I think what the coach has shared with us is that it's very important that who you are, first of all, before you realize who you are, and then you will be swayed by anything that comes your way. So I think this is very powerful. And let's say that it is, but to me, it was a moment, an eye-opening to say there's so much work that needs to still need to be done. Thank you, Coach.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm married as well, so I do have a wife, and we agree to disagree to agree to be successful. If you can kind of understand what I'm saying, we're not going to always think the same way about the same thing, but we both know our individual purpose and what is the purpose of the Matthews family, the Spencer Matthews family. And what is it that we are trying to accomplish in the field of personal development, business development, and service-driven development? Those are our three pillars of what we operate on. You know, because if you can't give from a cup, from a half-filled cup or an empty cup, but you can give from a full cup and you can give from the overflow. So what is it that we or you want to do that you can create, market, advertise, put a price tag on it, and serve people and sell it and monetize it, and then donate to a wonderful organization some of the funds while you take care of yourself and your family? I mean, it gets no better than that when you can serve somebody else while being blessed, because you're getting up every day and you are truly a woman or man on the path with purpose. Thank you.
Powerful, powerful. Coach Mike, there's a comment here, and I would really want to hear what you say about it. Very interesting. Miss Awesome here says, my take from today's lecture is we each need a coach. What do you think of that? What is your comment?
I'm gonna clap on that one.
I love you.
I'm gonna clap on that one. That was one of all of the comments have been great, but when we can self-actualize, when we can self-internalize, because we can't fool the man or woman in the mirror, that reflection that's staring back at us. Even though we think we can, but we can't. I mean, because we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind may think you're fooling that reflection, but your conscious mind knows you're not. Because if you don't produce, your subconscious mind knows it. If you're looking at television when you should be working, at least for me, my subconscious mind is rolling around in my head saying, what are you doing sitting on the couch being a couch potato? What are you doing, Mike? Get up and get busy. So we all need a coach, because a coach can help you, plot out your plan. A coach, he or she can dive deeper into what you see. A coach can also help to hold you accountable if you give that coach permission. So my coach has 100% permission to hold me accountable, because Shakespeare said, to be or not to be. And that truly was the question then, and is still the question now, to be or not to be. So whatever that to be is, or that special something is for people, that coach can help you see some things that you can't see in yourself, even though you already have the tools. Again, my earlier story, when my coach said, you need to start your own business. Had he not said that to me, I was already writing, and I was already a published author, but I didn't see it as a business for profit. I was just doing it because I like to write. So I've always found out to say, been coached, find something that you're already doing for free and continue doing the same thing and attach a price tag to it. So I'm saying, I'm already writing, I'm already publishing books. I just published a book in April of 2019, Finding Your Moment of Clarity, with 9 people from 5 different countries. So I knew I can do it after he brought that to my attention. See, that's the key. After the coach brought that to my attention, so to answer the question, had I not had a coach, I wouldn't have never probably thought about starting that business, is the point I'm making. So if all of us have a coach, we can get some nuggets, some gems, some experience, and some needles. You know, we can be an elephant, like an elephant steps on a tack and it jumps around all day, a real thick tack, rather. That's what a coach can do. It can pick you and stick you to the point where you now have some ideas that you never had before, because you never had coaching. And now that you have coaching, you have so many ideas, you have to talk to your coach and say, well, coach, I have so many ideas. Which one do you think is the best for me to roll without coming out of the gate?
Beautiful, beautiful. Is it difficult to be held accountable, coach? Is it why people don't want to have coaches? Is it naturally difficult to have a coach? I mean, to be held accountable?
Well, for some people, like Charlie and myself being an athlete, we were trained to win. So it's not difficult for us to have a coach, because we understand the purpose of coaching is to make you better. It's to make you better, to make you a success, to help you to succeed. And in the business world, for non-athletes, and some athletes even like this, they take coaching the wrong way, because a coach sometimes has to look at figure out who you are, figure out where you're going, figure out what you need, and then tell you what you lack. And then when the coach tells you what you lack, we get defensive. Oh, no, why are you talking about me? But that's the wrong attitude. The coach sees something in us because we've evidently developed habits that has gotten us here right now, and we can't move past those habits or those emotional baggage blockers that we're carrying. It's like when you're driving a car, another short story. It's like when you get in the car and you're driving to the base of a mountain. And this particular time you're sitting in the car and you're looking around and you see old rusted out cars with old tree limbs over the cars. And you see people in the car with their hands just onto the steering wheel. Then you take a look up the mountain and you see other people who are walking up the mountain. Some have big, heavy bags on them. Some have little bags. And then you see somebody at the top doing like this. That person at the top had a coach. That person at the top, while he or she was at the bottom, the coach understood that they had emotional baggage blockers. That coach understood that person so well that he helped that person while they was walking up the mountain to toss out the emotional baggage one step at a time until the road up the mountain was so light that now they can sprint to the top and become a success. But the people who were sitting in the car at the base of the mountain, grabbing onto the steering wheel, they had no coach. So their emotional baggage was so heavy, they couldn't even get out the car, let alone make it up the top of the mountain. So having a coach is one of the most blessings that you can have. You can have a spiritual coach, a business coach, a personal coach, a relationship coach, whatever coach that you need, life coach. There are coaches that will help us to help ourselves.
Powerful, powerful. I see the hand is up there. Byron, leadership Byron, over to you. Unmute my leader, Byron.
Can you guys hear me now?
Absolutely, yeah. Loud and clear.
I just want to add a quick comment. I used to be a baseball coach years ago for little guys that were about between 8, 9, and 10 years old. And I will always say to those guys, Coach Mike mentioned purpose or your why. We have to become so emotionally attached to our why, our purpose. I also refer to it as passion. When you are, when you are passionate about something, when you are not doing anything that works toward the success of that goal, when you're not feeling right, when you're not doing anything about it. I always also want to point out accountability. Coach Mike Matthews is my accountability partner. And I hear his voice in my head when I'm not doing anything. And I don't want to hear that voice because there's pain attached to that. But that's not negative pain, that's positive pain. That pain drives me to become diligent about accomplishing my goals. I just want to throw that out there.
Beautiful stuff, beautiful. There's a comment here also that says, ego is everyone's enemy. Anybody wants to have a bite at it again? Coach is still here, guys. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. He's here for us. Any hand? Yes. No hand? Comment? Did I hear someone say something?
Oh, okay. I'll come in here to just kind of fill it in. We when it comes to coaching, and as Brother Mike had mentioned, being as a sportsman, I got to understand what coaching is. Now, many a time that ego defense comes up. I mean, we've gone through it as sports people as well, where you feel you are good at it and the coach is telling you one thing, and I'll give you guys a little short story. My very first trip overseas in 1978, when we went over to attend the World Championships in short track speed skating. Unfortunately, we were barred because then the sanctions came into play. Did that bother me? No, I still kept going on. But however, prior to that, my coach, Coach Norman Hallwell, who's today about 92 years old and living out in Canada with his daughter, Linda, there was something in my style of skating that he said I needed to correct. But because I was already going fast enough, I was being the best, that ego started taking hold on me. And then when we got to the Nottingham ice rink, I hardly even completed one lap. And Coach Norman was stood talking to Pip, one of these colleagues who had taken part with him in the 1961 Winter Olympics. And then they called me over and Coach Pip told me exactly the same thing. He said to me, I want you to do 3 laps and just changing this part in your style. I've never been that scared of speed skating ever in my life. I've never gone that fast. Now, the point I'm making here is sometimes whatever we think we know, we need to learn it from someone outside. To correct what we are doing, we need a vision from outside. And if we have a look at any sport, let's take football, for example. You'll always find the coach running up and down on the line and flaying his hands and pointing and whistling. Why is he doing that? He sees the wider spectrum of the game. He sees it peripherally. You, in your position where you are playing, you are seeing that position. You're missing something in the back if you maybe in the front line. Someone in the back is missing something in the middle and so forth. The coach can see it all. That's why he's correcting everyone. And that is why you need a coach. A coach who's going to guide you, give you a kick up the butt every now and then, right? Which Coach Mike a couple of times does, but then also gives you guidance, right? What you are doing now, what can you create better from that? How can you do something better? Whatever you are doing, your coach is seeing it perfectly. You are focused, you got tunnel vision on this one thing you are doing. That's your goal, you want to go that way. But when he sees it openly, he sees all the different blind spots, right? So that's my input on getting coached and getting a coach and what a coach actually does. In essence, they have a look at your blind spots, have a look at your strengths that you are not leveraging from, have a look on your weaknesses that you need to be maybe just uplifting, getting someone else to assist you within your weaknesses. I thank you.
Terrific, terrific. Great, Coach Charlie. Israel, your hand is up, my leader. Please unmute and take the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, leadership. And I have no question, basically, but a comment. I can't afford not to say anything on this very last lecture for the year 2020 that we so struggled with, but then I'm so grateful that I have been and I'm still part of SALGC, so it keeps me going and it gives me honestly purpose for each day, and we see the possible beyond the so many impossibles that we think. What I'm taking with myself home today is the problem that have long been preached, the sort of family lineage wealth, where we think if you are from a wealthy family, then you can so long just carry on and be wealthy. And if you are from a very not favorable background, then you're so also kind of kept to be in that way. So I hear it over and over and over again from Coach Mathew's presentation to say, being successful in life have nothing to do with your background, but what your inner conviction is, just like the last week's lecture. So what I'm getting is that if you live life with a purpose and conviction, you'll definitely get what you're looking for. If you want to find reasons to win, to make it in life, you will definitely find them. And same, if you want to find reasons not to win but to fail, you'll still find them. So thank you very much, Coach Mathew, for this lovely presentation, and thanks my leader for making it very much.
Well, you're so welcome, Israel, and here's my answer to that.
Thank you. Coach.
Hello? Well, here's my answer.
Yes, Coach.
Here's my answer to Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you trudging seems all uphill, when your funds are low and your debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Remember, I did not come from generational wealth. Byron Day did not come from generational wealth. I know the neighborhoods. We both grew up on the same side of Chicago, which was the South Side. We did come from loving families and loving parents, but we had to figure out a way to get to where we are today. And no, we are not where we want to be, but we're on the journey to get there. And one important factor I want to make is we just can't walk around in Wonderland and just wish for these things to happen. We literally have to have viable strategies, specific SMART goals with dates on them, plans of action, execution, coaching, and fail a few times, and then as long as we don't fail bad enough to knock us out the game, because failing is learning. Michael Jordan shot over 9,000 times, but he only hit half of his shots, for example, but he has 6 championships. So if you want to win, let's just take the excuses away. Yes, it's going to be harder for us. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy, because no, it's not easy. But through every adversity, there is a seed of greatness. Our job is to find the seed and then nurture it, just like how a bamboo tree grows. It takes 5 years for the growth of a bamboo tree seed to turn into a tree. So that's what we need to do in our business life, is to really just look around at where you are, just like I did when I was 16, 17 years old. I said, if I stay in this environment, I don't know what my life is going to be, but I'll be around loving people, no problem. But some of the people just didn't want to do anything. And then again, I have people that graduated in my neighborhood that came from the same economic background, went to the same schools. They are doctors, lawyers, have master's degrees, make 6-figure incomes. A few of them are millionaires. So the question again is, what makes a person to look at him or herself and say, I'm blessed and grateful and humble for what I have and where I am, but there's more. Look at everything around you. It became because of an idea. Somebody thought about something in order to make the things that we see all around us today. So if they can do it, then we can too. So we have to not look at well, my coach says, we don't even look at live outside the box, because there is no box. So don't even say that. There's no box. It's from infinity and beyond, because the universe is vast. So they always said, if you shoot for the moon, you hit a couple of stars along the way. So what is a big shot? A big shot was a little shot who just kept on shooting. So that's where we should be. And I know in this time, the analogy of shooting is kind of a bad analogy, but shooting towards your goals and dreams is the analogy that I was making.
Powerful, Coach. Thank you very much. I've got a problem with load shedding this site. My computer may go off any minute now. Let me take another question, but I've asked my colleagues to help me out if I get shut abruptly. Any more question? Anybody wants to go ahead and take a bite at it? Tiana, you haven't said anything.
I've actually just seen a comment by Miss Awesome. And I think I'll use this opportunity to ask Brother Byron. There's Miss Awesome is saying, will we be hearing from Coach Byron in future lectures? So there it is, Brother Byron. We hope to have you on pretty soon. We'll arrange and put you down to come and give us your insights and wisdom.
Well, I see the gauntlet has been laid down. I'll gladly pick that up.
Thank you, brother. We'll arrange. We'll communicate via emails and then arrange and sort that out.
All right.
Yeah, beautiful, lovely stuff. Oh God, I'm gone now.
Each one teach one. That's what it is.
That's the principle we live by.
Yes.
is
Exactly.
I'd actually written a quote. What you learn, if you share it unselfishly with others, you not only set a platform for collaboration, you also set a path for mutual growth. I see we've lost Bo, so we'll just see who, maybe Mr. Matsamai or someone will take over from him. But that is what I would like to leave as what Brother Mike has just said, and expand on it, that each one teach one. So whatever you learn and you freely share it with others, you're not only empowering them, but you're empowering the next person because they go forward and share that as well. We've heard that term about knowledge is power. Some people would say knowledge is power if implemented. I view it as knowledge is powerful when it is shared. Some people don't have the luxury or the opportunity to be learning from higher level people. So if you tend to have an access to some knowledge that other people do not, I think if you took just a moment to share that with other people, that does become more powerful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Is someone saying something?
Yeah, I put my email in the chat, and if you email me, put in the comment box this meeting date, and I'll send you a free digital gift.
Oh, thank you very much, Coach Matthews. I've captured the email, and we will make follow-up on that.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any more hand. Bo asked me to take over because his laptop went off. He's having load shedding. So I don't know if there's any more hand.
I've seen Nelson up, and he's unmuted himself, so Nelson can go.
Oh, Nelson, you can have a bite, comrade.
Comrade, and then it was a mistake to raise a hand, and I just joined the meeting right now, and then I was late to join the meeting, but I'm happy to be in this meeting. Do you get me, leadership?
Oh, thank you very much, leadership. It's okay. Is there more hand before we close? I see we're running out of time. I'm also having load shedding this side, and I'm catching the lecture from my car, so I might be off any minute. So is there any more hands that we can take? In absence of
leadership,
leadership,
and then I just want to know then any contract did in order that, and then if I got some questions, and then in order to redirect my things, you get me, leadership?
Oh, can you please just inbox me? We will take it from their leadership.
Okay, no problem. I'll do so.
Thank you very much, leadership. In absence of any more hands, let me just take this opportunity and thank each and every one of us for making it in today's lecture, being the last one for SALGC for the year 2020. And thank you so much, Coach Mathew, for making it happen. You have shared your wisdom. You have shared such a very deep information that we'll definitely use from today going forward. I'm sure each day we live to learn. So from today, we will not be the same as yesterday or as before this lecture. So thank you very much for making it happen and sharing your wisdom. And I know such kind of sessions are normally payable, but then we're so privileged and lucky to be in the midst of SALGC, then we were able to access this lecture for free. So I'm very grateful. And on behalf of the SALGC management, let me thank each and every one of us for also making it to this meeting. And I'm hoping that next year, the year 2021, will also have more other powerful lectures of this nature and still be together So let me take this opportunity and thank each and every one of you. And I'm hoping that you will have safe and blessed festive seasons until we meet again next year, and having more of these kind of sessions and still coming full force to participate and sharing the knowledge and wisdom that we so have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and I'll end with first of all, I want to thank each and everyone for coming and supporting. I hope you took a lot of notes. I put my email in the chat. If you email me, I will definitely send you a free gift from the Matthews Entrepreneur Group. It's a digital gift. I won't tell you what it is. If you're interested, just email me and I will send that gift. It's all about the dream, and I'll end with the dream. Choose a wish, find a dream, pick a shooting star. Let your hopes and spirits soar high and free and far. Reach for the unreachable, then stretch to touch the sky. No dream you treasure is too far away and high. Believe in the impossible, then work and try and do. For those of you who dare to dream, you can make your dream come true. Thank you, SALGC, for having me, and I'm looking forward to 2021 so we can expand and get this information out there on a global scale. With that, I bid you goodbye for today.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, everyone. And I'd just like to say and wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Enjoy the holidays. Have a great time. And looking forward to seeing you all within the new year. Stay blessed and be happy. Thank you very much, everyone. Have
Bye-bye.
a great
Thanks,
weekend.
Coach Charlie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Right, sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Coach.
Bye-bye. Thank you. You're welcome.
Rick, put your head out of your ass. That's a woman.